Okay, now, if you're raised in Effingham, you might have heard of a place called Tiger Ridge. The thing about Tiger Ridge is it's where cousins were rumored to have married and lived there. Now, that's what I mean about being tempted by something but not going through with it, right? Okay, say you watch Flowers in the Attic, right? Now, this could involve incest, right? And the thing about incest is if you're from Effingham, right, and you heard of Tiger Ridge, right, you could be tempted by something but not do it, right? Right. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. All right. A temptation is like with Christ, where Satan, because see, if you can't forgive Christ for being tempted with what he was tempted with, and you try to condemn me, you're condemning Christ for being tempted at all. Right. Right. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Even Christ was tempted to sin, but did not sin. No. Whole point too. When you're laying next to someone and you're in your night clothes, you can be tempted, but if the person doesn't respond, you stop and go to sleep. That's what I mean, right? You don't even, you're trying to see if they'll wake up while you're trying to do something with them, but you stop too if they don't wake up. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean about, again, when Dan woke me up from my wet dream. I just acted like I was still asleep. I didn't say that. Well, that's the thing, right? All right. That's what I mean. I wouldn't go through with that, right? If tempted, but that's the point too. I'm naive enough to try, but not naive enough to know to stop too, right? And not go through with it. That's what I mean, right? And it's just an example anyway. For you to understand, the temptation was simply I was a young hormonal male lying next to a female. Right.
Just other people to clear things up.
Now, this is
If you'd
Dr.
like more
Phil
information
involving
about
Brent
today's
Michaels, right?
episode, you can log on to drphil.com. Also, I'll be on Facebook talking about this because I know you guys chatter about this.
But I don't even know if that looked like Brent Michaels today. Right.
Me on Instagram.
There. A temptation, okay, is thoughts coming in your head, like with Matt and Maria, or stuff like that. You don't act on it, right? You stay home, and you stay in your home, and they stay in their home, right? That's what I mean. All right. If I'm thinking, they're acting weird around me, and I'm mentally ill. Why is that the first thing I tell you? Because mentally ill people don't admit they're mentally ill. I know that. So that's also part like AA. You gotta admit you're an alcoholic. I admit I'm mentally ill according to the naval doctors, and I'm trying to rehabilitate from it. And I'm trying to tell you what was going on that made me act out the way I did that other people will admit to who are involved with it probably either, right? That's the problem too. Then they want to play like the Pharisee and the sinner. The Pharisee says, Lord, I do this for the poor. I do that for the poor. And you're praying with yourself then. But the sinner says, God be merciful to me, a sinner. And what? Help me not to sin. Help me not to sin. Right? Because in the nutshell of it, all a sin is a mistake you made. And if it was with the help of others, they're involved with it too. Right? Not just you. Now, if you keep telling people the age of consent in Georgia is 16, that's because the age of consent in Georgia is 16. And I know that since I was brought up in Georgia. Like I keep telling you, legally speaking, what that means is any female over the age of 16 with no age gap of when she can be with another man, even if he's 120 years old, and can still get it up, unlike David, she can have sex with him. So, and you can't do nothing about it because that's Georgia law. I know. But then there's the woman caught in the act of adultery. It don't matter if she's Christ's wife or not. The point is to forgive her in the act. She was caught having sex with a man, idiot. That's what it means. And they brought her along to Jesus. There's two reasons he could forgive her according to Moses' law too. One, they did not bring the man with her to stone them both. Right? Two, they could have set her up to sleep with the man. Otherwise, how would they know she was with the man? That's entrapment. No, it is. And Christ forgave her for that reason too. You're not going to just tell me every day a man and a woman are committing adultery in Jerusalem, which is a religious city, without someone knowing what they're doing and ratting them out to get in trouble. See what I mean? See what I mean? They also entrap the woman. And Solomon says you can't do that. Yes, he does. That's why he doubly forgave. Because how the hell you know what she's doing with another man unless you in on it, right? Right? When I don't even know anybody until I come in contact with you during the day, and I'm just looking for me a girlfriend the same as you if we're both heterosexual, right? The thing is, though, right? All right, I'm still single and I'm 51 years old, right? But I have been married and with a number of women in the military, a few after the military, but I'm still waiting for the right woman, and I can say girlfriend from 16 to 60. Because that's what I'm taught to call a girlfriend. With sex or not. Now, you cannot make Paul's law greater than Moses' law, because Moses' law is what you're supposed to follow, not Paul's idea of it. That's also where you're messing up. What Paul means, though, is are you trying to control your daughter's virginity, right, by trying to determine who she can marry, right? When the Bible don't say that at all. Moses even talks about an unbetrothed daughter having sex with the man who entices her into marriage, and all the man has to do is approach the father and be responsible for it and ask for her hand in marriage if they have premarital sex. Right? That's all it says about it too. If he accepts the son-in-law, they can marry. If he rejects the offer, he then has to pay for taking her flower of her virginity. Right? But then they know, right, that she was with a man. No. Now, some of the things in the Bible are kind of wackadoodle anyway. Very wackadoodle. Even if you sin against your husband, you can make the woman drink dust-filled water to prove she didn't cheat on him. Like, that's going to prove that or not. All you're going to do is make her belly hurt because there's fucking dust in the water. Do you normally think that a good idea? No. But why is Moses telling you that? A spirit of jealousy has come upon her husband, that she's cheating on him. And this is to prove, okay, somehow, that she's not cheating with him. And you're to curse her if she's cheating on him and bless her if she's not. But when Christ forgave her, the woman they brought to him caught in the act of adultery, whether it was his wife or not, is irrelevant. They obviously entrapped them too and knew they were hooking up regularly, probably. Who cares? Who cares? You don't care. But then they bring her to him since he's teaching in the temple, whether he's a rabbi in the Jewish faith or not, which does mean you're married yourself. usually. Like with the seventh seal or sign or whatever. With Demi Moore. Okay, the thing about that thing is you cannot even touch a rabbi unless you're what? His wife. Another thing about that is there's only one man she can commit adultery against who you can bring her to anyway, and usually that's her husband. Because when Constantine heard this, he didn't like it, though. No. You have to forgive your wife for committing adultery against you with another man. He wasn't into that. I guess he wasn't. Nor are you. Nor are you. But the thing is, though, Christ said, let he that is without sin cast the first stone. Right? They also would have to bring the man from the bed they were just in, right? And go get him and bring him to be stoned with her. Right? That too. And this is what the story is really telling you if you fill in the gaps too. Correctly. You can also misinterpret it like Constantine did and not apply it at all to your wife, which is what you're supposed to do. And instead of killing her or stoning her and her lover, you forgive them both, right? By doing that. Because sometimes sex is just sex. Right? Sometimes you can have a baby when you have sex. It depends on the time of month, right? Right. That's the point, too. If I have sex with someone or think I'm around someone I'd have sex with, and I lose an hour at a time around them, I know something happened. Either we were arguing about I wanted sex with her or not, or we had sex and you caught us coming out the bathroom. But either way, we're talking about sex. That's the whole problem too, right? That's why my legal requirement as a 51-year-old man, if I'm around anyone in any job, is to ask first their age, right? If they show an interest in me at all. If they don't, I'm just there to eat a meal and leave. That's all I do. And unless the girls invite me to the damn bathroom or something, it don't normally happen. But legally, if you saw there's something about Mary, they arrested the people at the rest stop where Ben's character pulled in the pee. Bad idea, Ben. Right. And the gay men were all in the rest stop doing their thing. In the movie. It don't mean when you pull in at every rest stop you gotta worry about that or not, right? But again, as a comedic understanding of that, right? They're basically having gay sex in the rest stop area. Is what they got arrested for in Florida, too. So again, it's a joke. But the thing about the joke is you can have sex with someone anywhere you want to, even in a rest stop, right? The difference is it consensual sex or unconsensual sex, right? Really. Or is it illegal to have sex in the rest area, right? They can make that a law too. But again, that does away with consent. Don't it? So that's the point of what consent is, right? See, if I don't know I can't have sex with someone in the bathroom or not, and I use an hour of time, that's the first and closest place we can get to get away from everybody to do anything anyway. If we have a crowd full of people in a salon anyway. Even just to talk to her about sex, right? Or possibly having sex with her, and say I'm pretending I'll show her I'm hard in the bathroom, what that really looks like, what it takes to get me hard, I'm joking. Still, no. If she takes me up on the offer and we go into the bathroom and whatever we do in there I don't remember, why don't I remember it? I lost 20 minutes the first time, second time, and third time for it to be an hour longer than the normal 40-minute nail jobs I've been getting up to then. That's all I'm saying, I know, right? The rest of it is called amnesia, right? Temporary amnesia, right? Now, when I'm doing the externship, right, it's not like someone's going to come in, right, while I'm using the male bathroom and try to have sex with me, and then I'm going to go back to the job, even if it takes 5 minutes for me to get to the bathroom. I am physically disabled from a fall from a building, so at least from the second story to the window ledge down, right? Which is basically 2.25 stories. Right? That's what I mean too. Now the reason I'm doing it is I'm locked out in my room and I'm trying to figure out a way into the room because everything I own is in the apartment. My ID, my clothes. I only have on a pair of pants, right? And underwear, and my shoes from work, right? So I'm trying to get into, again, the window as a last option before I have to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of the night, which would be normally to sleep in the lounge of the barracks, right? So I had a full plan in place before all that happened, right? And the first part of the plan is see if they have a master key or a skeleton key to get into the room. They didn't. The second is to go to security and see if they'll help you get into the room by some other means. The third way is one of the petty officers got me a couple of pair of screwdrivers and I tried to break into the door. Do you understand? I'm doing something logical here. I'm locked out the door, everything's in the room, and I only have on a pair of pants and my travel bag, which should have had the key in it, by the way. So, normally, if you're in the Navy and you go down to the bathroom, you put your key in your travel bag. But if it turns up missing, someone could have stole it from the travel bag. That's all you can say. Right? So you, again, try the screwdriver. You even try see if the guy got some credit cards. You ever tried to get into the door with a credit card? That's all in the movie too. I know it is. But I tried all that. Then, okay, I got one more option. Try the window. So you go to the end of the hall. You count the number of doors to your room. Because that would also be the number of windows to your room. You go up on the roof. You use your ninja skills. From the book written by Stephen K. Hayes. Right? I showed y'all that too. You swing up on the roof, you go over to your window, you lower yourself down, and that's all you remember. You're about 4 inches from the window ledge, and you wake up in the yard. I can't tell you more than that happened. No. I can't tell you less than that happened. It's called blackout amnesia. I know. But it's not full amnesia, it's partial amnesia. And the first place it happened is at the car wreck. I know. But all this wouldn't confuse you too. That's the question. I know. This is what I'm exposed to growing up, right? This is kind of Hollywood, and yet even Dr. Hatsumi doesn't want you to think ninjutsu is like the movie ninjutsu, but you can do certain things as a human being that other human beings might even freak out over if they don't understand. Even the movie ninjas in the new movie where it looks like they're scaling the wall, they could really be scaling the wall, and you don't know at that time. Now everything's all CGI too. So you don't even know what's real from fake with some of their CGI stuff. Now with Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber, you might can tell a little bit. Right? But see, I'm not an editor. See, when you're writing a story, an editor retracts some of the story if it's too informative for someone to understand, right? They want to shorten it up for the readers. Because a lot of people, when they read something, they want you to get straight to the point, usually. And not all know all the details all the time. Which is something that we neglect in everyday life anyway. We're on the, what? Fast lane? Life in the fast lane? Surely makes you lose your mind. Life in the fast lane? Life in the fast lane, everything all the time. Life in the fast lane. Right, now I'm doing it as a lyric. I'm quoting and critiquing now. And I know what the singers mean who are singing this song, which are called the Eagles, right? Well, again, I'm around certain things growing up, including drug use, including things like that, right? I'm not trying to get in bad trouble, but yeah. Cocaine's all popular. LSD, right? Though I never tried it. Like Clinton, I didn't inhale. Okay? Right. Anyway. Damn. But ooh, baby, it's a wild world. Hard to get by just upon a smile. According to, again, Cat Stevens, a famous musician I listened to growing up, I guess, or artist now. Right. And again. Yeah, I show unto you a more excellent way. A way of love and forgiveness, a way to repent, a way to be with someone in a good way or a bad way, and how to discern the good from the bad and what you can do in anything you want to do as long as it's legal. Like gay marriage, right? You know, I'm a straight man and I don't know much about the gay community, but if they want to get married, who am I to stop them? If I want to marry a woman, I don't know why it is, right? I just know I want a wife, right? So who am I to judge them or condemn them for wanting to marry too? I don't. But someone's acting like a bunch of homophobic pricks. They might even try to rape the gay man to prove he's gay. That makes you gay too with it. Two wrongs don't make a right, do they? No. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is also lukewarm. Meaning, they can be good to you one day and evil to you if they think you're doing evil the next. Right. They could even try to entrap you like the woman caught in the act of adultery. And how did they catch her? Like with David and Bathsheba. Unless they knew she was with him. Right. Then they bring her to him and not both of them, which is what the law of Moses says you have to do if you caught someone in that adultery, right? Which is fornication, by the way, too. But did they bring the man? No, they would also have to go back and get the man and bring the man, right? So they just walked away. Dude. They might have even known who the man was. Uh-oh. That's entrapment. Oh, no. That's the second reason Christ knew it was not up to her with the adultery either, because the male had enticed her, though she was married, into having sex with her. Though also the male could have been married too and committing adultery against his wife, right? But they didn't do such things back in Israel back then. The wife couldn't do shit, if the husband cheated on her. So the thing is, though, if you catch them both together, you're to bring them bucks to be thrown. Not her or him either. Right. So entrapment is why, because, like everybody's going to be having sex early in the morning anyway. Unless you're with someone all night and then you had to get away in the morning and went to his house or apartment or whatever. And again, you go back. They bring her, not her and the man. They challenge you according to Moses' law to stone her or not. Don't know. Yes, they do. Or you're not reading the story. Jesus said, "Let he that was without sin cast the first stone at her." And the only one who can determine that part is if he was the husband she committed adultery against in Judaism. Right. And again, he what? Forgave her. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more, because these motherfuckers know you were with that man. They're entrapping you, honey. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. He also probably divorced her, right? Which is Moses' law on that too. And really, technically, he's not even supposed to go back to her, but Adam went back to Eve after their sin with the tree of knowledge of good and evil, whatever it was, as well. Could be that the angels in Genesis 6 were following Satan's example in chapter 3. When he finally got them to eat of the fruit of his body, which is how we reproduce here. And taught them another way to have sex with your body. One they didn't know of. But one they would see as evil when they were done. And not like it. As much as they thought it was. Satan usually does that with you anyway. He offers you 2 holes for the price of 1. You can have both his holes if he can have your 1 hole. But he ain't gonna be gentle when he sees his turn. Figure out what that means. Are you an evil gay rapist like Satan? Who says, you let me do it. Now it's my turn. And that's the deal with the devil. To the T. He'll promise you heaven and put you in hell. And you'll be ashamed when he's done with you. And you'll feel that shame till you die. Because you won't be able to let it go. The memory of it. Until you die. Anything you do, that's a sin. And you don't know how to forgive or repent of it. And you did it, and you remember it. You'll remember it till you die. That's how Satan made the world cruel and unusual. Was not before that in Eden, where they became one flesh there too, on day 6. The sin happened on day 7, retard. You don't get that either. No. It was a totally different day. Within 70 years of that day, or they wouldn't have lived 1,000 years or 930 years after they ate. And they both died around the same time. It don't matter who lived longer or not by a few years. Even if they died shortly after each other within a year or 6 months. Who cares? That's irrelevant. They both died for their sin with Satan and Eden. Right? But that's why they don't know how to tell you when Constantine flipped out on it. Right? And that, like, he could choose the Orthodox instead of the Gnostics. Like it's they're wrong or they're right situation, right? When it never was that kind of situation, right? You cannot decide for people what you think is truth or not truth unless you're a tyrannical Roman emperor like Constantine. And we're brought up around tyrannical emperors to begin with. I don't know. Right? And now you're acting the tyrant over trying to control who this man even can marry or be with. Right? When he don't know either. He can only tell you what he knows for his part. Because I know in part and prophesy in part. My wife is the other part who also prophesies. And we're trying to find each other in the wild, cruel world we live in. And that's everybody's problem here, not just ours. And do I be with a man or a woman, all right? Or a hermaphrodite even. Found out about those too, right? Didn't always know about them, but I've heard of them with earthworms. And didn't know a human being could be one either. Now I do. Now I do. Right. I've even seen them have sex like the earthworm. Because they can't. Because they can. And you could only edit so much during the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? Mm-hmm. And there are enough of them, right, that they can shoot a few pornos, you know what I mean, right? And they're not like hermaphroditus. He has testicles and a penis and female breasts, right? They have a penis and a vagina like an earthworm, right? And they can have sex even feet to head. Right. Or normal. And they can do butt sex too. Again, with men or women. Again, with men or women. And vaginal sex. And something comes out the penis like semen. And that's where they come from, the same way you come from. But it's like they're the unusual gene, right? That the only way it could be introduced is how? By sex with one of them. Right. Whereas we're normally male or female, right? Only sex with one can produce one in the future or past, right? And if God made us male and female after we were one body, alone in Eden, the Garden of God, he took parts of the male to make her after he named the animals while she was still in him. And I know. You know, the bone is the rib, but what is the flesh? The ovary, fallopian tube, and womb. In Adam, who was both. I don't know. The testicles would also be in the stomach, like a